We got a video to do. I understand there's Pokemon out there, but we got to talk about SmackDown.
All right.
I mean, this is the last time we're ending the week with SmackDown.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal.
Last Thursday night SmackDown for the foreseeable future. We're going live next week.
Yeah. So let's talk.
We're not going live, but SmackDown's going live.
So we open up with more of the pre-show promo bits, kind of setting up what's going to happen on the show.
Yeah, Owens talked about Sami Zayn and a birthday card with $20 Canadian in it for his kid.
Yeah, so he took the money out. He's not giving the card to his kid, and he's going to beat the hell out of Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, and he's going to put Sami Zayn in the hospital if he tries to interfere in the match.
We had Charlotte and Dana show up and talk shit about Sasha, saying that there's no way she can beat Dana for a second time. Miz talks about how he's going to have Darren Young and Bob Backlund on Miz TV. And then Dean Ambrose says he gets to do one of his favorite things to one of his least favorite people, and that's when he gets to beat the hell out of Kevin Owens. But we open up with Sasha versus Dana, Charlotte out at ringside, and Charlotte was obviously a bit more involved in this one, trying to make sure that Dana didn't beat her, because she said, well, if you beat Dana on SmackDown, I'll think about giving you a match at Battleground. And so, Dana tried, Charlotte also tried, but Charlotte ended up getting knocked off the apron, and as she did that, Dana went for a roll-up that Sasha kicked out of right into the bank statement and made Dana Brooke tap out. We then had a 2-on-1 beatdown afterwards.
We've now also discovered this week that neither Becky Lynch nor Sasha Banks should be rolled up.
Yes. Just bad things happen when you do that.
They have finishing submission holds at very similar angles.
Yes. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Or do it a lot, because we'd like to see Sasha and Becky win a lot.
Yeah, they're popular with us.
They're our favorites, along with Paige. Ajay. But we found out later Charlotte and Dana would actually show up in the trainer's room and tell Sasha that they've signed a tag team match for Battleground.
Yeah, and at first I was like, why? That doesn't make sense.
But then I was like,
oh yeah, okay, it would probably actually be way cooler if they had their one-on-one match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, so save the one-on-one match for SummerSlam, and could we be seeing Bayley show up and team with Sasha?
That's potential. I mean, because Battleground's, a week and a half away or whatever?
It's a week away from the Sunday.
And then, but we have the draft right before that.
It's true.
So we could see Bayley get called up during the draft.
I didn't think about that. Interesting.
Yeah. One of the things you got to think about. A lot of the NXT guys, it's rumored they're going to be in the draft.
That's true. We'll have to wait and see. So up next, before Rusev defends his United States Championship against Zack Ryder at Battleground, he would take on Zack Ryder's best friend in Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah. This match was just touted as, this is the last Thursday night SmackDown, and this is going to be these guys. One of the last shots they get to impress Shane or Stephanie.
Right.
To become top draft picks.
And especially, we saw Shane throughout the night kind of talking to different superstars, probably getting, their last words like, hey, I might be the good choice to bring over to SmackDown when you draft. So just do that. So Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev. It was Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev.
Yeah, no, those guys have decent chemistry. And, they capitalize on things that both of these guys are really good at.
Yeah.
Rusev's really, really good at being dominant. Dolph Ziggler's really, really good at selling.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Dolph Ziggler's really, really good at being dominated.
No, probably. Yeah. Well, I lost track of thought. Lost train of thought. I thought of another joke in my head. What would you call it if Shane and Stephanie started fighting during the draft next week on SmackDown?
Sibling rivalry?
You call it a rough draft.
Oh, you're stupid. So, at one point we had Zack Ryder come down to ringside during this match.
Yes. Which is, pseudo, Rusev did that during Zack Ryder v. Sheamus, where he came out
It's
after the match was over and beat on Zack Ryder, yelling, "I accept your challenge."
Yeah.
I accept.
So, on top of the fact that he is the number one contender, plus his best friend is in the match, it makes a little bit of sense for Zack Ryder to come down. But eventually, Rusev just decides he must have beat up both Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder.
Yeah, so he goes to the outside with Dolph, and he throws Dolph into Zack, and then he picks them both up and proceeds to throw both of them in the ring.
But then he makes the mistake of, as he throws them both in, Zack starts to roll out of the ring. He's not in the match. He's not supposed to be there. So Rusev follows Zack Ryder.
Yeah, he starts chasing him.
As he rolls out of the ring, that allows Dolph Ziggler to roll up Rusev and get a win. And then him and Zack Ryder get to celebrate, and Rusev's like, I fucked up.
And at some point, like, when Zack Ryder realized Dolph Ziggler won the match, he felt like he had to take his shirt off.
Well, when you're Zack, bro.
It was one of the weird thing, because like when he's in the ring, his shirt is on. When he's rolling out of the ring, the shirt is on. And when the ref is counting the pin, you're watching Zack Ryder like walk away with his shirt still on. And then Dolph Ziggler goes out of the ring, and there's Zack Ryder with no shirt on.
He wanted to show that he's in better shape than Dolph Ziggler.
Something, I don't know.
And then Rusev threw a temper tantrum.
Temper tantrum.
Temper tantrum.
Temper tarantula.
He took another monitor for his collection at home, ripped up the desk, and just
He tore two of the turnbuckle pads off of the turnbuckles and threw them up the ramp.
He was not happy.
No.
So we also find out that the Wyatts will take on the New Day in a 6-man tag team match at Battleground as well. So we should be figuring out this week what happened post the battle at the compound.
I'm hoping so.
Because it'll be interesting. Like maybe they'll set this up, and maybe the New Day won't make it to Battleground.
Who knows?
So it's really interesting to see where they're going with this.
Again, I understand why they're doing a 6-man tag, New Day versus the Wyatts, because that's the feud that's going on right now. But it sort of irked me a little bit, because when that's the announcement of now the second match involving championships that aren't being defended.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me too much because, the women's championship bugs me a little bit more just because we haven't really had, like, what felt like a legitimate match for that title since WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Where it's just been kind of like, how many times can we fuck over Natty and Becky Lynch? That's all it's really been. And so I understand what they're doing with that. The tag team titles can kind of be defended at any time, but if they do go with the storyline that the tag team champions are like nowhere to be found, then that's
And
that's,
I don't think I would have been bugged by it either way, really, if it was just one. But having the announcement, here's two different champions, the New Day and Charlotte, and neither of them are defending their title at the show.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, at least we know that both, like, the U.S. Championship and the Intercontinental Championship and the WWE Championship are all going to be defended.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I gotcha. Speaking of 6-man tag team matches, we do have John Cena teaming with Enzo and Cass to take on the Club. But on SmackDown, we had AJ Styles teaming with Carl Anderson to take on Enzo and Cass.
Yeah, and this was treat Enzo like a piñata day.
Yes. Enzo got his leg worked over a lot. He got tossed out of the ring. He tried to make a diving tag to Cass and got met with a knee from Carl Anderson. It was a bad day to be Enzo.
Yeah, and he never really got around to making that tag that he needed.
No, because when he attempted it, AJ distracted the referee, and that allowed Gallows to go over and pull Cass off the apron, which Cass then boots Gallows in the face, and then Anderson dives off and knees Cass on the side of the head, and that leaves Enzo in the ring with AJ Styles. AJ's able to roll him up and make him tap out to the calf crusher.
Yeah, so it's just not a good day to be Enzo Amore.
No. And on top of that, Enzo and Cass didn't have John Cena to back them up. So the numbers game was very much in favor of the Club.
Yeah, again, John Cena is really good to hit the people that are team with him.
Hey, he was there on Raw.
He was practicing.
He was practicing backing them up on Raw. He forgot he's supposed to practice on SmackDown, too.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't forget about their match at Battleground.
No, it's okay. John Cena just doesn't work Tuesdays.
Yeah.
He'll work a Sunday because he knows he gets paid on Sundays. He's not so sure about those Tuesdays. We had Kalisto take on Tyler Breeze in a one-on-one match. Lucha Dragons.
Short but sweet.
Lucha Dragons versus Breezango. Definitely short but sweet. You know, coming off of the tag team match that they had on Raw,
where Kalisto foot did lots of damage to Tyler Breeze's mouth.
And then Tyler Breeze's foot did a lot of damage to Kalisto's head because Breezango got the win. And Tyler Breeze even tried to end this match the same way. Because Kalisto did the same spot where he jumped up to the second rope and Tyler Breeze tried to do the roll-up, but he didn't do the supermodel kick before that. And so as he rolled Kalisto up, Kalisto was able to kick out and eventually hit the Selena del Sol and pick up the win over Tyler Breeze. So I'm sensing a pre-show tag team match.
Definitely could happen. And a lot of the time during this match, the commentators were hitting on the point that there's a big chance that some of the tag teams could get split up during the draft.
Right.
Because, there's two tag teams, even though it's a singles match, but, both guys had their partners in their corners.
Yeah.
And, you also had that Cass and Enzo versus the Club match also. So there's a lot of hitting on the idea that, that's something that could happen. Sin Cara could go to Raw and Kalisto could go to SmackDown. It could happen to the Dudley Boys. Could happen to Breezango. Could happen to the Club. Yeah. Nobody's really safe from that potential split up.
Yeah. Which I still feel like tag teams should be a unit as far as the draft goes.
Billy and Chuck did it.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure. But they were the tag team champions during the first draft.
Okay, so it
was a forced unit.
So
kind of like Billy and Chuck.
This is a terrible segue, but Darren Young was on Miz TV along with his life coach, not his life partner, his life coach, Bob Backlund.
And Miz, which completely took me by surprise, played a really nice video package of the early portion of Bob Backlund's career.
He paid very nice tribute to Bob Backlund. Bob didn't seem like he knew how to react, especially when the crowd gave him a standing ovation after the video.
He just kind of stood up and looked around and then sat back down.
Yeah. So he was a little nervous.
He is a bit of a weird bird, though.
Yes. If you know anything about Bob Backlund, he's insane. But then after that, Miz is like, you know what, and because Darren is my guest, I'm going to play the career highlights for Darren Young. And we get the scrambled color screen that usually come up when nothing's on TV, because there really are no career highlights for Darren Young.
I really wanted to see a funny, mocking video package of Darren Young, because there have been a lot of less than stellar moments for Darren Young. The entire first season of NXT.
It should have just been a bunch of highlights of him with that crazy party hair that he had.
Yeah, and, if you remember, this was also Straight Edge Society. CM Punk was his mentor.
Oh yeah.
And it was the great clash because it was Straight Edge Society CM Punk
versus
Darren Young, whose gimmick was he went and partied all the time.
Yeah.
So polar opposites. But he had at least one highlight. The Primetime Players won the tag titles once.
No,
right?
that's what I pretty much expected, was Miz to kind of hit on the fact that the only time Darren Young had a highlight was when he had a tag team partner to help him.
Yeah.
So, but that ended up not being a thing. Then Darren Young gets mouthy.
Yeah, Mr. No Days Off turns into Mr. Takes No Shits.
Yeah. Miz...
Not in that way.
Miz was just...
Miz was trying to give him shit, and Darren Young was like, I don't want it.
Miz was just trying, he's doing the Miz TV thing. He's poking and prodding and just trying to get a rise out of his guest. And Darren Young was, taking the microphone
Yeah, it was funny because like Miz was like, "Oh yeah, and the way I'm gonna beat you, you know," and he says he's gonna do a monologue from a movie.
Yeah.
And that's the first time Darren Young like grabs the microphone and like lowers the Miz's hand, and then he pulls up his microphone and says something, and the Miz's only response is, "If you touch my microphone again, I'm gonna like end you," and then immediately knocks the microphone out of Miz's hand.
And he grabs the microphone and goes, "You're gonna what? You're gonna what?" And Miz and Maurice both like scurry to the side and get out of the ring. So yeah, no, Darren Young is not fucking around.
No.
He
might have won the Battle Royal by happenstance, but he is going to make sure that he's trying to beat the Miz.
Yeah. He wants to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
He wants to be a legitimate contender for that championship.
And it's kind of cool, and I mean, like, a lot of the stuff that he said didn't, like, feel super organic, but at the same time, this is one of the first times we've ever seen Darren Young cut a promo.
And this is something that we've wanted to see for a while, because we know that Darren Young is good.
Yeah, Darren Young is a good wrestler.
Yeah.
It's just that they've never given the opportunity for him to be a good character.
Yeah. So I think having someone who's as good of a mouthpiece as The Miz is, it'll be good to see what Darren Young is able to come up with in response to what The Miz says.
Yeah.
So it's a good starter feud for this single run for Darren Young.
Yeah, and I think that might be one of the reasons why they put him with a manager, is because a lot of times the guys who they're not super, confident in their promo skills, you give them somebody who can help talk for them.
Yeah, I don't know how well Bob Backlund can talk without being completely and utterly insane right now, though.
But you know what? That's still going to get people's attention.
That's fair. He's loud.
You're going to be like, wow, Darren Young's manager is insane.
Well, look at Darren Young wrestle. He's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He got rid of his fro hair.
Yeah, no, he's got a nice short shaved head.
Working on getting the goatee out.
Yeah, he's making himself look a little rougher.
Yeah, he's gonna be great again.
Yeah, making Darren Young great again. Then we moved on to our main event, which was Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens.
And it didn't last long.
No, because we had a surprise appearance from the #1 contender, Seth Rollins, who we assumed was coming down to do commentary, because Dean Ambrose likes to do commentary whenever Seth Rollins has a match. So why not have Seth Rollins do commentary?
And Seth Rollins has done a handful of commentary times himself, too.
Instead, Seth Rollins just wanted to beat up Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, it's the first opportunity he got. He starts attacking Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, so Dean Ambrose automatically wins his match against Kevin Owens by disqualification. We didn't get a 2-on-1 beatdown, which is quickly stopped by one Sami Zayn. And we come back. This would have been a perfect time for, hey, look, it's the new commissioner of Smackdown, Shane McMahon, making a tag team match. But instead, we just came back from commercial and we're like, hey, this is going to be a tag team match. Which was fun.
Yeah.
Good tag team match. It was a best of the Indies tag team match.
Yeah, it's we've seen a lot of Rollins versus Ambrose, Rollins versus Zayn, Zayn versus Owens, Ambrose versus Owens.
Yeah.
So it's not something we're unfamiliar with, but when you give them the opportunity to have more than just a singles match, it definitely adds a little more interesting dynamic.
Yeah, you give other personalities that they can act off of, which is good.
And Rollins is one of the few people who, as Kevin Owens' partner, doesn't ever seem really perturbed by Owens' outbursts and attitude, because Rollins has also a very similar attitude.
Yeah,
he just doesn't talk as much.
Yeah, where he gets frustrated and then he kind of he doesn't vocalize it as much as he acts it out, whereas Kevin Owens does both. Yeah. And Kevin was like, Dean, tag me! And he's just mocking him, and then it confused me for a second. I was like, wait a second, he's not on his team. And then Rollins tagged Kevin Owens, and it was like, oh, okay, he was just fucking with him.
He's being a dick.
But yeah, no, a fun tag team match regardless. For those of you Supernatural fans out there, we had Dean and Sami teaming up, if that means anything to you. But we had Owens...
Crowley, return imminent.
We had Owens actually stop a Dean Ambrose dive.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen often. And then he chucked Dean Ambrose into the stairs. And after multiple attempts, Seth Rollins would dodge a haluva kick and hit the pedigree on Sami Zayn, therefore giving the win to him and Kevin Owens.
Well, I think Owens even alerted him to the oncoming haluva kick from the outside. He was pushing on his legs or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I didn't really see much of the commentators credited Owens for helping Seth Rollins evade.
And he did the first one too. He kind of distracted Sami, so Sami went for Kevin Owens, and then that's what kind of led to this the series of moves that eventually ended with a pedigree. So Ambrose then stops Kevin Owens from powerbombing Sami Zayn post-match. Rollins is left in the ring as Owens and Zayn are down. Dean Ambrose goes in, they brawl for a bit. Eventually Rollins is able to escape and backs away as Dean Ambrose just stares at him from the ring.
Yeah.
And building more tension for their championship match coming up this Monday on Raw.
Yeah. That's kind of a cool thing, to have a championship match on Raw.
Yeah.
That only happens about once every 2 years now, it seems like.
Yeah.
This is a cool... Another thing that they kept pointing out during this tag team match, the commentators, were saying that all 4 of these guys are potential, number 1 draft pick people.
Yeah, and that's been the talk, especially if you go... we didn't really hit it on this week's midweek wrap-up, but talking about, building a brand around someone.
Yeah.
And so all 4 of these guys having stellar moments over the course of the last couple of years, you got to think that they are, they're all worth building a brand around. Especially Dean Ambrose being the current champion.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm going to hit you with a quick question.
What's that?
If you were one of the SmackDown or Raw commissioners,
okay,
and you got the first draft pick, who would your number 1 be?
I'm going to go Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a smart choice going with the champ.
Yeah. Even if he wasn't the champ, Dean Ambrose is just one of those guys that you can always guarantee is going to get a reaction. He's always going to have either something funny to say or just a really intense promo. His matches are always consistently good. He has chemistry with everyone. So he's an all-around really good pick.
Yeah.
As far as putting a show together. How about you?
I'm having a really hard time deciding between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins.
Both very good picks.
I mean, it's just... They're both very adaptable heels.
Yes.
That can play to the strengths of almost any of the baby faces on the roster. And they constantly put on really good matches, both of them do. So...
There you go. Who would your first draft pick be? Post down in the comments because that's it for the Smackdown Rundown.
Yeah, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe.
And be sure to click all the links down in the description. Make sure you're subscribed because if you don't know already, videos are changing, man. Everything is changing. We've already started opening our weeks with the indie news.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be ending our weeks with the midweek wrap-up plus the Cruiserweight Classic reviews.
Yeah, so as long as the Cruiserweight Classic is going, that's going to be our end cap of our weekly reviews.
Yeah, our all of our our last review on a regular basis will be the midweek wrap up.
Yeah, you get a big block now.
Yeah, and then after that is going to be all of our special content. Which, by the way, coming out this weekend, we will have our second unboxing video where we'll be making the final decision as to whether we're going to stick with Pro Wrestling Loot or are we going to stick with Wrestle Crate. So if you haven't checked out the first video, The link will be in the description of that video, so look forward to that coming out this weekend. But all of our usual reviews are up in the playlist or podcast form, depending on how you want to see it.
That podcast form's down there.
Also, our very first Cruiserweight Classic review is up there in the videos. That will not be a podcast. That's a video exclusive. So you want to be subscribed to the YouTube to check that out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at whatever video you decide to watch next. What is it? What is it?
It's Pikachu.
What?
It's over here. Oops, wrong way.